Hi everyone, hope you're doing well from wherever you're watching this channel, depending on your time zone. Now, William Ruto did some changes to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, of course, which seemingly look like stripping some powers and then taking those powers to regard the Gachagua's office. That means that those foreign diplomats can engage the other ministries directly without going through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. But then, Senior Counsel Ahmednasir has an advice for William Samuel Ruto. So we want to go through it, and then from there, we want to understand the reason why Ruto was doing this and what it means going forward. This is what he said. We all know running the foreign ministry isn't a child play like shooting Cobra Squad video or promising Gulliver rural folk that Machakos will be Formula 1 circuit, but I think His Excellency William Ruto must rethink his decision to make the ministry a department in DP regarding Gachagua's office. Let me just go through that letter to understand what Ruto did here. The Ministry of Foreign and Diaspora Affairs of the Republic of Kenya presents its complement to all diplomatic and consul mission, United Nations agencies and international organizations in Nairobi and has the honor to inform as follows. Whereas the Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Relations entrusts all officials' business with the receiving states to be conducted through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, it has been agreed in the interest of efficiency that the mission may communicate directly with the ministries, departments, and the agency of the government of Kenya without going through Ministry of Foreign and Diaspora Affairs. A copy of the correspondence should, however, be shared with the ministry. In the interest of coordination, the foregoing is subjected to requirement by the mission to avail a report to the Ministry of Foreign and Diaspora Affairs on the held deliberation and decision undertaken within 3 days of meeting. Request of meeting of the crops cutting nature and they involve more than one ministry. It is advised that such requirement should be made through the office of the Deputy President for coordination purpose. Look at that. The Ministry of Foreign and Diaspora Affairs of the Republic of Kenya avails itself of this opportunity to review to all diplomatic and consul mission, United Nations agency, and international organization in Nairobi the assurance of its highest consideration. That information, meaning that Gachagua has been granted more power when it comes to matters of foreign affairs for coordination. So it's clear that he's stripping powers from Alfred Mutua. But a simple question I ask myself, really, between Alfred Mutua, who has been a former spokesperson of the state spokesperson, a two-term governor, and Rigathi Gachagua, a former DO and a one-term member of parliament, and now, just from nowhere, boom, deputy president. Really, who has more experience or who can do this job better? We are continuing with the panel discussion, but just a quick request for those who are watching and you are not subscribed, please consider subscribing. To our returning subscribers, I must say thank you so much, and again to all our viewers, please give this video a thumbs up. Thank you, and back to this discussion. You know, there are so many questions that Kenyans are asking because we have a ministry that has staff who are salaried but doing very little in that same office, because they are supposed to coordinate and for us communication and negotiate on the behalf of the government. So they are meant to be just a share. These people are getting salary, but they are not up to task. They will not be doing the real task here, because now they are moving to other departments. The question is, will Ruto also move some of these stuff to those other departments that is now putting this mandate to directly? That's the question. So Ruto has indirectly fired Alfred Mutua. And again, he is indirectly, maybe to some extent, partially abolishing the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Partially. Because he has been left with little to do there. But then Grand Mullah is telling him here that, you see how he put his view. It's very clear that he has to rethink by his decision to take that office to regard the Gachagua's office. That means Grand Mullah does not believe in regard the Gachagua that he can handle this matter. And for me, I'm in agreement with him. Gachagua being the person we know, the way he talk, so much contradicting statements, he cannot bring that kind of relation and the profession that is needed in that department. But again, generally, if you check on this matter, you see that it goes against the known norms of the international diplomats. It has never worked like that. If we were in a country whereby you can give a deputy president a ministry to run, then we will understand he's running that ministry. But then a deputy president who needs to deputize the president, how will he manage that and being everywhere the president is? This is a job that is serious, need a serious person to do it. And there is one man by the name Christian who had been an ambassador in UK, is also giving an advice to William Samoei Ruto, and this is what he's saying. Christian Tuna, having served as the UK ambassador to Kenya from 2012 to 2015, I should at the drastic and somewhat ill-advised shift of foreign policy by current Kenya administration. He continued, according to the recent directive, foreign mission in Kenya will now engage directly with the Kenyan ministries and the state agency without going through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Now this is what he's saying here. The Vienna Convention on Diplomatic Relations places the Ministry of Foreign Affairs as the only important organ in charge of operations of foreign mission using the MFA is critical and create a centralized and structured engagement between Kenya and her partners. But now it will be free for all. Some corruption ministers will be pursuing own deals as opposed to partnership that benefits the great people of Kenya. For example, Moses Kuria. We have been seeing Moses Kuria very busy everywhere. He's the one traveling. You might think that Kuria is the one in charge of Ministry of Foreign Affairs, but it's not. These are people who are cutting deals. Personal interest coming first before the country interest. So that is his fear. And you can see his advice is making sense. So the question is, why is Ruto doing this to Alfred Mutua? Do they have other things they want to do here, but they want Mutua out of the way? Because, we in Kenya, as of now, I can say we are not lucky to have administration that has appetite for business. Actually, we have entrepreneurs in the office. People who will think about profit and their business first. That's why you can see they're spending 16 million in State House every day, while Kenyans are dying of hunger and they don't care. So their business comes first, other things later. look at that. So Ruto might be having other deals he want to do without necessarily involving Alfred Mutua. That's why he might be moving toward that direction. We know very well that Ababu Nomamba was the person to take this ministry, but then we know what happened somewhere during when Ruto was taking over office as the president. They denounced one of the countries that they don't recognize it as a country. Of course, it is ile ilikuwa katika kwa hii nini Morocco, hapa Morocco. But then later again there was a controversial and apology that follows. So such things. The reality is that Rigathi Gachagua is not in a position to do that job. He can never. The way he has carried himself, the way he behaved, the man is not to the task. There's a problem here, but at the end of the day, you will see the end game might be a plan to loot, nothing else. That's what I can see. And you can see this is a government that is disorganized, dishonest, and they are all for their own personal interest, but not for you. If they have your interest, then they will look for another person to be there, but not just putting it into departmental issues. People will be cutting deals here and there. It better be one person, then be responsible. Mambo ingine tuache hivyo. So that's the situation, and I'm in agreement. Gachagua is not worth to run that department. Yeye ni deputy president wa Mount Kenya. Yeye ni deputy president wa UDA party. Atakuja ashughulikie mambo ya nchi.